Hello, welcome to Build with Raymond. Today we are going to peek behind the scene of Wisp and learn how we use AI behind the scene, right? So one question that I get asked pretty often is how do we use AI at Wisp? And in fact, it is used at suggestions of related blog posts, right? So every time you written something on Wisp, right, what it does is that it uses AI to actually translate it into a chain of numbers, right? 256 of them to be exact, right? And these numbers are called embeddings, and is actually a numerical representation of like what your blog post is about. And basically what we do to actually suggest related blog posts is to compare where are all the the distance between the embeddings of different article. So the closer they are to one another, the more related the blog post is about, right? And that's why we use that to suggest related blog posts. So interestingly, Wiz has recently grown quite a little bit, and right now we have 1,007 blog posts on our platform. So a question that I have is that what are everyone writing about on this platform, right? Sure, I can read all the 1,000 blog posts, or I can actually just like group them together in different classes and really look at what are the different topic clusters are. So and that's basically our experiment today, right? Just to understand a little bit of what people writing about on Wisp, right? So before we dig further, let's learn a little bit more about embeddings and how we actually use embeddings in Wisp, right? So embeddings is actually, this is from OpenAI, right? It's a number that measures the relatedness of text string, and we commonly use it for search, right? We can search for a topic similar to something, clustering, recommendation, anomaly detection. We will actually see all of this later, right? Diversity measurement, so it should be diverse. If you want to write about a broad based topic, or you want it to be niche, then it will be a little bit more clustered together, right? And at the end of the day, the embedding is actually a vector list of floating point number. We'll look at that later, right? And the distance between the vector measures their relatedness. And how do you get an embedding, right? So, when we talk about OpenAI, we always think about ChatGPT and chat completion, but actually OpenAI has a text embedding endpoint as well, right? What you do is that you send OpenAI a text, and then it sends back to you a string of numbers. And the newest model that they have released is text embedding 3 small and text embedding 3 large, right? And basically we use one of the newest model to actually model out what your article is talking about, and we find the most related ones for it. So this is also still from OpenAI, a very short experiment in which we draw inspiration from. So this is what they do, when they visualize Amazon's rating, the little feedback that people have, right? And then you can see like how, the different clusters of ratings are and how diverse it is, right? There's no real pattern here because, ratings could be pretty homogeneous, right? So, my question is that can I find significant clusters around my data? So so this is a little bit on the math behind how to do clustering, right? There are multiple techniques to clustering, and to be honest, I'm not a data scientist, and I really do not know the differences from the different clustering techniques. And sorry, in this case, it's about dimensionality reduction, right? Let's talk about what is dimension. Let's maybe start off with visualizing a vector first, so that you get an understanding of what this string of number means, right? So I'm using Jupyter Notebook here for analysis, and basically I'm just loading data directly from my database and actually caching it locally so that I don't have to fetch the data every time I run the analysis, right? And then basically these are the first few rows of my data frame, right? And you can see the first up is the title, right? So this is the blog post title, right? And then there's the description to really quickly give you an idea of like what this this post is about as well, and as well as the slug, right? And this is the vector, right? So if you take a look at this, it's actually numbers, right? There's a couple of numbers here, but in our database, it's actually 256 of them, right? There are 256 numbers to each blog post, right? So each blog post is turned into numbers, right? And the problem with having 256 dimension is that it's very hard for humans to comprehend such a high dimensionality object, right? We typically think in terms of 2D, see in terms of 3D, but beyond that, it's very hard for us to visualize even a fourth dimension. So just to print it to the screen, right, we want to be able to put a 2 or even 3 dimension data point onto the screen, and that's why we need to do a dimensionality reduction, right? The idea behind it is that I have this 256 this vector, right? It's impossible for me to visualize that in my mind because I'm a 3D being, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to reduce it down to 2D, right? Because my screen is 2D, right? And I don't want to deal with like a 3D object on the screen as well, right? So I want to reduce the 256 dimension vector into 2D, and at the same time, I want to keep the most interesting things about the vector as well. I don't want to lose too much information during the dimensionality reduction because, if I wanted to, do a simple dimensionality reduction, I could just read the first two numbers and ignore the rest. But I'm going to lose a lot of information from there. So I will need a technique to be able to preserve all this different information on this high dimension data, but yet capture it in a 2D space. So that's where this article comes in, right? To be able to visualize the different cluster, then I need to reduce the dimension, and there are a few techniques from there, right? So there's SNE, TSNE, and UMAP. So if you are interested, I'm going to link this article. You can look at the variations of these 3 different techniques. But I'm just going to run 2 variations of it, TSNE and UMAP, so that you get an understanding, like you can see visually what's the difference. So starting from here, you can see that there's a vector already. All right. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start off with a PCA, dimensionality reduction. So it's still not one of the 3 mentioned, so it's just one step down. So 256 to 50 first, and then further reduction with TSNE down to 2 dimensions, right? And then from there, I would be able to use a clustering algorithm, right? In this case, I'm using a DB-scan, right? There are other clustering algorithm like k-means as well, right? So it's for you to kind of like figure out what kind of like parameters work best for you. For me, I'm trying this epsilon 2. I'm getting about 35 cluster. It's okay, right? So let's use that first, and then finally I'm printing it out to the screen, to visualize the different things. So to understand what are the different things, right? So number 1, the color means the team ID or the blog post, the blog ID, right? That means this is likely this is all one block, right? And then this is all one block. You can start to make sense of like the colors already. So this is one blogger, this is one blogger, or one company, right? And the cluster, right? So each cluster is a different marker. So it's the shape of the marker. So you can see there is circles, there's crosses, there are plus, there are stars, triangle. So each of this represents a different cluster that the clustering algorithm has identified. Okay, and basically that is it, right? So this is 1,000 different blog posts printed on a screen, right? In a 2D screen, grouped by the things that it talks about. So as you can see, this is pretty static. I can't make any sense out of this. So I want to visualize like, what are the different titles about. And so I print it out using Plotly instead. So this is just the same data point, but using Plotly. So here we can start exploring the different cluster, right? So as I mentioned, you can see the color is based on the blogger, and you can see, oh, okay, this one blog is just about, okay, daily life tips, and I think I saw cooking tips, and then some practical tips on trick. And you can see that this blog is highly niche, right? In fact, you can see, oh, that's a different one. Okay, in fact, you can see like, oh, this one blog is really just talking about that one thing, right? Let's discover another cluster. So if we can zoom in on this, you can see this is in a language that I do not understand. Here's where it is interesting, right? I actually do not know what the content of this blog post are, but you can see that there are 3 different bloggers talking about similar topics, right? So there's the one in pink in cluster 19, there's the one in teal, and then there's the one in orange. All of them talking about similar things. So even without understanding like the title, I would know like they're talking about similar things. So this means that I can actually they actually could collab in their work together. You can see like if this blog post is actually more similar to what this blog post is about compared to his other work over here. So it's potential, like they can potentially link to one another and have like link juice flowing and all of that. So it's quite interesting to see like how different blogger actually have crossover. So that's probably where we are going to examine again, right? And you can see a little red cluster. Let's zoom in on this, right? You can see shedding light on breast cancer, appendectomy, I'm guessing something to do with the gut, or right, acid reflux. So you can see this is all about digestive health, and it's medical, and it's pretty isolated by itself, right? There were no other topics that are similar to this. So you can see, oh, it's a very interesting cluster over there. Maybe let's zoom into this cluster here. It's one blogger, pretty much one person like dominated this space. So you can see loneliness of a middle-aged woman. Always on top is the dialogue with oneself. 8 signs that a middle-aged woman is embarking on a period of great fortune, right? As one reaches middle age, if you convert 50% of your savings into this thing, you'll thank yourself. So it seems like towards can you see like towards the right side, it's still about middle-aged women, but then it's more finance, right? On this side is about how your life and all of that, right? And this were pretty much finance. On the right side, right top, right, poverty, see, long-term financial shortage. So you can see even within a cluster itself, there were the region of it is also very interesting, right? Like the right region is more about finance, right? You can see this is short on cash, right? This is our finance. So what are this, right? Great fortune, okay. Awaken, never underestimate, right? So this is about rebellion and strengths, right? You can almost like make it out like what the topic is based on the the XY axis, right? So that was interesting. This section is interesting. We can see a crossover from our middle-aged women's blog to this is still the same blogger, you can see, but it's crossing over to a new cluster, right? And let's take a look at what this is about. It's tips, okay. Okay, it seems like health tips. So this looks like the cluster at the top, and then it does a little bit of crossover with like our topic here about like middle-aged women's. And then like if towards the right side, you can see it becomes a little bit more generic, like how do you stay fit, how do you maintain a healthy life, and physical development and healthy lifestyle. So you can see there is like 1, 2, 3, 4 distinct bloggers talking about this similar topics on my platform, right? So all this crossover are interesting. Let's take a look at this little region over here. So, okay, why do women, men? So you see, this is about men already, right? And you see, this is all about men. So this is men and women. That's why it's sitting below the women cluster and like above and towards the left of the men cluster. So 5 secrets to winning her heart. So this is like the men clusters already, right? And then what about here? So this is still about men and then pick up women. So it's significantly different from the one here, right? But close enough, right? Can you see? Pick up, how do you quickly? So these are very, very close to one another, right? Okay. Breaking hearts. Okay, so quite a little bit of like relationship-based content over here. Let's take a look at this cluster, right? We have women and men on that side, and over here it looks like the self-help topic about, right? How to improve yourself, how to be happy, manifestation of people with powerful heart, how to become a reliable person, and then you have a crossover of blogger, right, into the yellow person. Building of self-confidence, self-reflections, methods to understand yourself and discover your potential. So, can you see this is a new blogger comes in, right? Pink, right? And you can see pink, it's close to self-discipline and the yellow cluster about wise and responsible choice, but you can see it's also a separate niche by itself, right? It's talking about, your AP score, valedictorian, going to dream colleges, expert tips, right? Okay. So something about communication skills are here. Social skills, communication skills, right? Okay, so that was interesting. Let's zoom into here. It's a little bit towards the edge. Okay, so this is interesting. So it's talking about simple steps to sustainable, household, transforming waste management in Ghana, 5 ways to improve water quality. So a little bit towards the conservations and environmental topics. Right, there you go. Right, another blogger talks about environmental awareness as well. Right, so you can see these are pretty much together. Right, what about here? Okay, this is interesting. I have someone writing bedtime stories. So you have the Legend of the Empire, Wolf God, and Adventure of like Little Kangaroo, right? So it's a small little pocket over here. This one, okay, this is actually pretty much about, probably a person's journal, right? There you go. Another, probably a person's journal talking about happy birthday and whatnot. So that's like personal reflection, little cluster over there. A little bit more towards journaling. What else? Okay, so this is actually my cluster, right? So you can see the red one. This is GSG, right? That's pretty much me. Okay, you can see it's I'm almost the only unique author over there in this cluster, right? The closest is this guy talking about like OTP and securing your digital world. So you can see that I write in a rather niche manner. So in like GSG's topic is like there, except like another one topic right here, right? We can take a look at this. Okay, what are these component mentions? React Native, building diamond. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit over here. Okay, so let's take a look at this gang of like topics over here. Let's just zoom in into here, right? Dark blue, that's me again. This is actually Wisp article on Wisp blog, right? So you can see this whole thing is about growth hacking, educational content, generosity advantage, blogging made simple. So these are all existing Wisp content. If you're interested, just go onto my site and read it, right? And you can see this is interesting. Here is about you being jobless by 2030, right? Writing, how to stand out in writing. So this person talk a little bit more about writing. Oh, actually, this is my blog yet again. So this is Wilded, right? This is Wilded blog. How do I use ChatGPT for best result? This is a different color. Do you notice? It's like a light blue teal, and then the green one is all Wilded's top blog, right? So writing style using Hemingway's iceberg theory and writing style. So you can see this is about ChatGPT and AI. That's why you will be jobless by 2030, right? And then while this is a Wisp blog post, you can see it's more towards AI over here, where you're using AI to scale outreach, right? So this is actually GigSG's blog, right? You can see like we can have different blog interacting with one another in terms of like the topic overlap, right? This is me, right? This is not me. Terraforming intro. So this is about like okay, a bit more engineering, data engineering it seems, right? Order accounting. This is clue. Okay, this is interesting. So if you take a look at like this region over here, right, the crosses. Now take a look at the shape, right? Now let's zoom in on this crosses here. Can you see? These are very sparse, right? But they all talk about one thing. My first blog post, new entry, tools of the trade, base template, test new Wisp CMS, test, a place with a view. This is the first post. First post, test. 这是一个标题 a new one, test, first post, hello world. So you can see a lot of people when trying Wisp the first time around, they are going to write a test post, and they are all like clustered over here. Can you see? It's these are all the test posts over here. Can you see? All right. Okay, let's zoom out again. So here's also another unique block. You can see. So this is a little blog that talks about like little cool like Etsy stores and trinket stores. It's very craft related. So they are the only one dominating this space right now. And here, this is actually a blog by some bikers club in SF, right? I think it's some Asian bikers club, and you can see that this is like their topic, right? Red and pink, very similar. Okay, and then you have some certification stuff at the bottom. Let me see if there's anything else interesting. Time travels and paradox. Okay, so these are very Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of like topic. Time travel theories and possibilities, difference between electricity and energy, right? So pretty much dominating that. Red is me again. So you can see these are very marketing related stuff, right? 100 ways to get lead, optimizing your landing page. So this topic, these are not mine. Blue one is on how do this work, how do that work, right? Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, right? What's the value of an AdSense account? How do a platform make money? So you can see this is one cluster, and then that is like related to some of the things that Wisp is talking about. So these are Wisp topic. These are not mine. These are some other things, right? And okay, angel investing at the bottom. So the region up here is still very much about marketing and like funnels and all of that. Okay, so yeah, this region is also interesting. Let's take a look at here. Zoom in on here, right? If you take a look at green is actually the sample blog post that I have. So if you go to, if you go to like one of my starter kits, right, these are the sample blog posts. So all of these are AI generated, and it's fake. So you can see these are the original ones, and people, when they are testing out Wisp, they are actually also copying my articles. Okay, so you can see like my articles being copied, probably partially, right? But if you were to zoom out slightly from here, you can see that related to it is actually this other blog here, which is not mine. They talk about a lot about China, delicious specialty, favorite dish, recommended Chinese book, and top must see in China. So these are very related. This is another blogger, right? and then someone talked about banh mi, charm of Tokyo. I think this is a similar, one of those AI generated ones that I have, right? But these are all travel related, even if it's not in English as well, right? So you can see this is about solo traveling, probably in Bahasa Indonesian, if I didn't guess wrong, right? So this is like the travel cluster, right? So yeah, coming back again, right? So this is how you can visualize, topics around, and you can see embeddings is an amazing way to understand blog posts, right? Because it transforms it into a number, and it actually makes sense. Like when we look at this together, through this map of like blog posts, you can understand why certain things are put together with each other, and that's the magic of it, right? We don't have to, with Wisp, you don't actually have to manually link a topic to another, because it just automatically does it for you, right? It knows like what you're talking about, and then it will say, okay, so if this blog post is about staying ahead of your game, right, the closest one is probably like blogging makes simple, right? So if your blog post is on, let's say, GPT-4o is now available, right, then your closest one is probably like the human side of AI. So it makes this intelligent decisions for you to actually suggest like the next best blog post. So you can see like this is my sample blog, right? And this is talking about like true essence of travel connecting with local. And there you go. You can talk about like kindness of strangers, spontaneity, and all that. So the way we work right now behind the scene is actually like magic, because we make use of these embeddings to really just suggest things for you. And this is actually pretty exciting for me, because with this feature, especially with all the crossovers, right, you can see it's possible that different bloggers can actually collaborate. That's one. For, if let's say there's advertiser who would like to kind of like work with some of our blogger, we can even look at monetization altogether, right? So if you're a blogger on my platform, and there's an advertiser that I know, it's going to talk about, let's say, traveling to China, right, for instance, then I would take the ad, I'll put it onto the same space, and then I can visualize, I will need to pitch to these 3-4 people, right? And that I can link up the advertiser and the publisher, right? And basically they can have a transaction, and value is being created this way. So there's plenty of opportunity to write onto this simple thing called embedding, right? Something in the near immediate term that I'm thinking about is more towards a call to action, right? So let's take a look at Wisp strategy. Like you can see, this blue is pretty much Wisp topic altogether, right? And imagine this, right? Like when you're reading about this, co-founder and equity and issues, disputes, right? You're not thinking about like, do I want to buy a CMS right now? Not the right time, bro, right? And that's appropriate where I actually attach the right CTA over here. So something that is right is like probably like, hey, download a guide about how to navigate internal conflict within your company, right? That would be appropriate CTA, not like, hey, do you want to buy Wisp, right? And down the road here, if you are talking about content distribution, right, then we don't want to talk about things like, do you know that we use AI, right? That's not appropriate. But what if like the CTA was like, hey, do you know that on Wisp you can actually generate social media content on say Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, out from your blog post. You can brainstorm from it. Okay, now that's interesting because that's content distribution. So CTA, like having like contextualized CTA, that's going to be interesting for at least myself, and I hope some of my users as well, right? And that's something that I do intend to do that. And right now I've set up this repository called Wisp Data Science, basically to just help me explore the different data that I have over here, and the different ideas, and just try out different ideas over here. Okay. I think earlier on I did talk about trying different reduction, dimensionality reduction techniques, right? We haven't get into that. So I'm going to show you how, so previously we were using, that was TSNE, right? Let's take a look at how UMAP will look like. Okay, there you go. So this is running UMAP, and you can see it's very different in terms of like the geography right now. It's small pocket very far away from one another, right? And then a big cluster in the middle. So little islands here. So right off the bat, you can see like clustering seems to be a bit more distinct. Let's visualize and see if there's any real differences in, okay, can't make out what that is. Zoom in on this. Okay. Okay, it's all in this language. Okay, that's pretty appropriate. Okay, so this block is still in its one cluster. This is interesting. There's a few colors over here. Early development, emotions. Okay, expression of feelings. Okay, so these are the feeling cluster. And then what is this? Intimacy. This is men winning. This is about men. This is about women. Right. Okay. I can see how this is interesting. Right. So this is about personal the personal journals. Okay. This looks like travel. A little bit towards the travel. Okay. The doctor's blogs are here, and I'm assuming like this is like the whole marketing island. Looks a little bit like Singapore, to be honest. Okay, this like funnel, bounce rates. So you can see there are some benefits in this, right? In this layout. So I can't make like whether I like this more or the other one more. But anyway, just remember it's tricky to do dimensionality reduction. So you know, it's there's no real you know, you have to use this technique to get things done kind of rule, right? It's just pretty much what you like. I think I do prefer a little bit more towards the TSNE, because it's like you can see like what does going up means, what does going to the right means. This one I haven't spent enough time to take a look and tell if I like it, but yeah, that's it, right? This is how we use embeddings, right? In behind the scene in Wisp, right? And you know, in some of the future iteration of Wisp, you'll likely see more interesting you know, features coming out of it from using like some of this AI stuff behind the scene. If you do like you know, deep dives about AI and whatnot, let me know in the video, right? And I can do more of that, because other topics that I do is that you know, there's actually you know, a big AI you know, agent workflow behind the scene in terms of like business development for Wisp, right? That's what we do. And right now I'm also developing something to do you know, heavy research into certain topics and write highly technical and highly authoritative articles for, you know, Wisp and Willet itself. So there's quite a few like interesting AI stuff you know, behind the scene that you know, I might not want to talk about openly in a blog post, but I might just do it, you know, just give you an idea of like how we build things around here. Okay, so yes, if you want to play around with this AI embedding things, and if you're already an existing user of Wisp, remember to try out our features on this suggested related blog post, right? You can see it's magical. Write a few content and you can see that this content actually automatically links to one another. Check out the documentation. There is the SDK on related blog posts, right? You can use this SDK, or you can use our API, right, to get related blog posts, right? So right now we are not exposing the vector, right? But you know, things might change down the line. Play around with it and let me know. You got my email. All right. Thanks for spending the last 30 over minutes with me. Enjoy your day.